Hi, I'm Laura and I'm here to give you a review of the Brooks Adrenaline GTS 21. So the Brooks Adrenaline 21, so named because it's 2021. I've been running in Adrenalines on and off since the 8s, which, oh my god, they were functional looking, I think is the word. So over the years, they've got a lot nicer. They look a lot nicer, a lot sleeker. It's had a few modifications over the years other than how it looks, but it's still offering like a solid, nice stability shoe, reliable ride. If you're wondering, the GTS in Adrenaline GTS 21 isn't any fancy technology or material, it just stands for go-to shoe. I only learned this like last time there was an update, so you learn something new every day. Maybe everyone else knew that, it was just me that was behind. I've had these about a month now. I've done runs up to about 8 miles in them, nice and comfortably. They have replaced my Adrenaline 19s, which had seen a lot of miles in them. And I think these feel less clunky than those. It's always difficult when you've had a shoe that's bordering on its 500-mile finish line to then swap to a new shoe, because even the identical shoe fresh out the box is going to feel completely different to the shoe that you've been traipsing around the pavements in. But this, I think, is feeling a bit sleeker, a little bit less clunky than the Adrenaline 19. So I know it's not necessarily cool to be a fan of a stability shoe, but that's what I like for long runs and some easy runs. I like to have that when you get into the final miles of a long run, to know that it's going to help my form, it's going to help me stay on track and not kind of deteriorate too much. So what's the biggest change for 2021 other than how it looks? Well, the loft cushioning now extends from heel all the way to toe through the midsole. So that's given you a more comfortable ride, and it does feel more comfortable, smoother as you run along. The guide rails, which we've seen for a couple of editions now, they're still there, and Brooks are focusing on those as a way to, they say, help our knees. So I'm always skeptical of a shoe that is promising to help me avoid injury, because I think that's always over-promising. However, I have had a few knee niggles this year, and I got this latest edition because I wanted to come back to the Adrenalines as a reliable shoe that I knew was going to keep me on track a bit more as my runs got longer and help avoid too much lateral movement. And they are doing that. I have to say that I made that choice to come back to these before I'd read the notes about how they were focusing on that. So for me, it's not going to help me avoid injury. It's not going to be a substitute for keeping on top of stretching and strength and all of that. However, it did give me that security that I could not overthink every stride as I was running along. So the design of the upper, it's nice. If I put my hand in, I can not feel really any major seams other than where the tongue joins, nothing in the sides that's going to rub. It's nice, light, breathable material, all one piece around the front. The back is going to cradle your foot. I like a bit of firmness all the way around my ankle, so that's good for me, and a nice bit of cushioning around there. The tongue is separate because I have quite narrow feet, and I do find I have to tighten shoes a bit more. I don't like too much of a gusset in the tongue. I like it to be separate because you don't get that kind of bunching of material that you can get. So nice padded tongue, lovely, and laces not too long. The thing about Brooks shoes, and I think this goes for all models, is that if you see somebody anywhere in the world wearing them, you know that they're a runner. They're not that kind of crossover shoe that you're going to wear out running to the gym and to the pub, they're very much a running shoe. And I like that about them because I don't want to cross the streams. I want to keep my running shoes for running and other trainers for whatever I want to do with those. Go to the pub, go to the gym. Although I like a shoe to look nice, my prime concern with a running shoe is how it works. That said, I probably would not be buying those Adrenaline 8s again if that's how they still looked. Luckily, they don't, and they're nice design. The colour to me is nice. This one is. I don't like some of the colours, but this was like a limited edition. I saw them post on Instagram and I was fastest finger first to get these. I think these are sold out. There are different colour options in the women's and the men's shoes. I think the men's shoe has won in the more fun options. Both Adrenaline male and female have a all black version, which is nice. A comparable shoe, if you want to weigh up the alternatives, I think would be the Asics Gel Kayano. These are the 27s and these are a few months old now. They are similar stability shoe as these. I think they're a bit more expensive, about £35 more, whereas these are 120. It's kind of reasonable for a running shoe these days, and you are going to get the miles out of these. They're a good long run shoe. If you're marathon training, these are going to keep you going through your long runs. You then will probably switch to something a little bit speedier for race day, but these will see you through the bulk of your miles in training. So the stats, they come in at 258 grams in the women's shoe and 294 in the men's. They're going to cost you £120, pretty reasonable, pretty average these days. And there's a 12mm midsole drop. That probably sounds quite a lot for running shoes these days. The trend has been towards lower than that, but that's what I like about them. And I think that Adrenaline fans, if they change that, if they went much lower than that, we're going to be disappointed. So for me, all in all, it's been a good update. It's been successful. There's nothing that sticks out as being a major change. I think everything's quite subtle, but is positive. Still giving you that security, that stable footing as you run in. And I think that's what Adrenaline fans have come to expect and come to rely on in the shoe. So I await with trepidation the 22 update. So maybe I'll stock up on these before that happens. Every time it happens, I've got my fingers crossed that there's not going to be anything untoward happening that I don't like. And I'm looking forward to doing the bulk of my marathon training miles in this shoe, the long runs. I think I'll be pretty happy in these.